Did you know that Native Americans were directly mentioned by one of the founding fathers of Zionism? In his 1923 essay, The Iron Wall, Zev Jabotinsky argued that the only way to successfully colonize Palestine was through brute military force. He referenced what happened to indigenous people here in the Americas as an example. He writes, "My readers have a general idea of the history of colonization in other countries. The native populations, civilized or uncivilized, have always stubbornly resisted the colonists, irrespective of whether they were civilized or savage. And it made no difference whether the colonists behaved decently or not. The Pilgrim Fathers, the first real pioneers of North America, were people of the highest morality who did not want to harm anyone, least of all the Red Indians, and they honestly believed that there was room enough in the prairies for both the paleface and the redskin. Yet the native population fought with the same ferocity against the good colonists as against the bad. This is equally true of the Arabs. We may tell them whatever we like about the innocence of our aims, watering them down and sweetening them with honeyed words to make them more palatable, but they know what we want as well as we know what they do not want. They feel at least the same instinctive, jealous love of Palestine as the old Aztecs felt for ancient Mexico and the Sioux for their rolling prairies. The one thing I want to point out is that in 1923, one of the founding fathers of Zionism is labeling himself and the Project of Israel as colonizers. He is referring to Palestinians as the natives of the area, comparing them to the indigenous people of the Americas. He also is glorifying the Pilgrim Fathers of the Americas, painting them as absolute saints and basically applauding how effectively they were able to slaughter and murder us and steal our land. So I genuinely want to know, how is a movement going to go from applauding and fawning over our murderers to suddenly wanting to steal our identity and claim indigeneity to the area in order to more effectively carry out the same levels of violence and genocide that happened here? Unfortunately for them, Palestinians and Native Americans are similar in many ways, including our resilience and our fighting spirit. Despite every genocidal act that the wholesome Pilgrim Fathers committed over the past 500 years, natives are still here. Our languages are still here, our cultures are still here, we still have our identity, and if we can survive that long of fierce, brutal colonization, I know that Palestinians will do the same. I highly encourage all of you to look up the essay, The Iron Wall, thoroughly read it so you can fully understand how deep this history goes, and you can see the parallels for what they truly are, blatantly obvious. And to my fellow natives on here, educate yourself on this so that you can educate your family, your friends, your tribal leadership. We need to boldly and loudly push back against this weaponization and bastardization of what it means to be indigenous, especially with the opening of the Indigenous Embassy in Jerusalem on February 4th. The embassy's goal is to, quote, change anti-Israel narrative among native peoples. They're realizing that indigenous solidarity with Palestine worldwide is becoming a problem, and they're trying so hard to undermine that. Do not let them appeal to and use our own people in order to do that. Because, as Zev Jabotinsky himself said, Palestinian struggle and the Native American struggle are parallel and intertwined. And it doesn't matter how many embassies are open, how many bribes are given, how much propaganda is spewed, you cannot erase that bond between Palestinians and indigenous people.